Yes, in the history of IOC, there have been bribes starting from lavish dinners, gold bars, and even prosthetics for your mother-in-law. Just last year, authorities raided the Paris 2024 Olympic headquarters, continuing investigations from 2017 and 2022. In this video, we will go over the brief, almost unbelievable story of the scandals. Brace yourself, the IOC even sued for damages over bribes they willingly accepted, proving once again that irony is their favorite sport. Giving the Nazis the honor of hosting the game is the least controversial thing they did. Yeah, Nazis are involved! As we go over these scandals, let me know in the comments which did you find the most outlandish. I'll share my top vote when we get to it. With the Olympics just around the corner, I'm taking the next 5 weeks to dive into the lesser known aspects of this colossal event. 5 weeks, 5 rings, 5 topics. Hi, I'm Greg, and this is the Weekly Review. In 1936, despite global protests, the IOC moved forward with the Berlin Olympics, handing Hitler a prime stage and the latest technology to amplify his propaganda. They tried to mask the true nature of their anti-Semitism by cleaning up streets and allowing Jews to attend. They even let one single Jewish woman, Helen Meyer, compete. Gasp! This tendency to clean up before the games would never happen again in the history of the Olympics. Next up, Sapporo, 1972. Austrian skier Karl Schanz, a critic of then IOC president Avery Brundage and an alleged covert professional athlete, was booted from the games. Schanz was the bad boy of skiing, making around $50,000 a year through his relationship with ski manufacturer Knissel. Around this time, all amateur skiers had contracts with various ski companies. Brundage, whose name conjures up images of a motel manager, harbored a personal vendetta against Schanz. Schanz's ejection from the games was a clear signal. Criticize the IOC at your own peril. Brundage's reign ended 6 months later, and the IOC imposed term limits to prevent future dictatorships within their ranks. Before we get to our next one, there's a huge correlation between these bribes and the insane cost explosion of the games. If you want to learn more about it and find out what are white elephants, check here my previous video. In 1998, the Nagano Winter Olympics Committee decided to redefine the word hospitality by spending up to $22,000 per IOC member on gifts and entertainment. This included lavish dinners, expensive souvenirs, and possibly the best spa treatment Japan had to offer. The Nagano organizers acted like they were auditioning for a role in Crazy Rich Asians, and the IOC members leapt it up a la go big or go home. The scandal deepened when it was revealed that the bid committee destroyed financial records after the games. They took a page out of a spy novel. When in doubt, burn the evidence. Several IOC members were expelled or sanctioned, and the committee introduced stricter rules limiting the value of gifts and enforcing transparency. But as we know about the rules,
some of them can be bent, others can be broken.
If you don't want to miss out on the next video about the mental toll on athletes that is somehow, unsurprisingly, related to sponsors, click here to subscribe. I'll wait. Thank you. Salt Lake City 2002 took corruption and gift-giving to new Olympic heights. The bid committee didn't just bribe IOC members, they practically built a new economy around it. They handed out cash, outrageous gifts, even through a medical procedure for somebody's mother-in-law. Move over, Santa Claus, Thomas Watch and Dave Johnson are coming to town. Imagine needing a knee replacement and thinking, no worries, my son-in-law is an Olympic organizer, he can get anything done. This scandal was so off the charts, it led to expulsion of several IOC members and forced a major overhaul of IOC ethical standards. This one gets my vote for the most outstandingly stupid bribery scandal. Normally, the playbook for bribery is simple. Don't write anything down, keep the circle tight, and pay in cash. But these guys, they were like, rules? What rules? They left a paper trail longer than the Olympic torch relay. And a knee replacement? They were definitely following the DND edition of the bribery playbook. If the IOC member prefers cash, roll a d20. Need a new knee? Roll a d12 to find a compliant surgeon. You have influenced an Olympic decision without getting caught. Collect your gold medal and 500 XP. Selection of spells? Charm a person with a luxury yacht or burn financial records. And if you get caught, roll a d6 for your excuse. 1 to 2, I thought it was a donation. 3 to 4, it's just a misunderstanding. 5 to 6, I was just holding it for a friend. Who knew bribery could be so adventurous? London 2012 wasn't just about sports, it was also about aggressive brand protection. Locoke went after anyone using Olympic symbols, including a Leicester lingerie shop for Olympic-themed knickers and a Plymouth cafe for Olympic torch baguettes. Because nothing screams unauthorized commercial association like a baguette. One restaurant called Little Chef was allowed to sell their fried Olympic breakfast because it has been around since 1994. Apparently, long-term artery clogging earns you a free pass. Lord Ko defended these draconian measures, claiming they were necessary to protect sponsors like BMW and Adidas. He even suggested wearing Pepsi-branded t-shirts would get you banned. Loco later clarified only large groups wearing visibly branded clothing would be targeted. Nothing says, "Welcome to the Olympics," like an Orwellian 1980 dress code. These brand protections meant small businesses faced fines or imprisonment, while McDonald's and Coca-Cola enjoyed exclusive rights at Olympic venues. Critics pointed out the glaring hypocrisy of promoting health and wellness while partnering with junk food giants. London 2012, where you are stuffing yourself with double cheeseburger and Coca-Cola Light, all the while corporate giants feast and small businesses starve. Sochi 2014 controversy started in 2008 by the Georgian government calling for a boycott of the Games in response to Russia's involvement in the South Ossetia war. The IOC's response? It's premature to make judgments about how events today might sit with an event 6 years from now. That statement aged well. Come 2014, Sochi had its fair share of controversies. Norwegian skiers were initially barred from wearing black mourning brands honoring a fallen teammate's brother, while Ukrainian athletes weren't allowed to wear black garments for victims of violence in Kiev. The IOC's handling of these issues? Protests, widespread criticism, and inconsistency. I think the problem was just lack of sponsorship by McDonald's. I'm mourning it. So there you have it. The Sochi 2014 Olympics, where the spirit of the Games was more about navigating the IOC's controversial and often insensitive regulations than anything else. Head of the Rio Games, Carlos Nuzman, 75, denies charges on bribery and fraud, but let's be real, it's hard to explain away 16 solid gold bars. Yes, Brazilian police found them during a sting operation, Fair Play, in a Geneva depository, along with an estate that increased by 457% over his tenure. Turns out, being an Olympic organizer is better than winning a lottery. Nuzman allegedly played middleman between Brazilian businessman Arthur Cesar de Menezes Soares Filho, nicknamed King Arthur because why not, and Lamin Diag, the disgraced former president of International Athletics. Soares supposedly funneled £1.2 million into accounts controlled by Diag's son to sway the African IOC voters. A modern retelling of Sir Thomas Malory's drama, with less knights, wizards, but equal amount of corruption. That's a deep cut. Go read King Arthur. And to wrap this up neatly, Nuzman has been sentenced to nearly 31 years in prison, but King Arthur remains at large. 1 point for corporate leaders. Operation Fair Play. Indeed. Tokyo 2020 wasn't spared from scandal. French prosecutors uncovered bribes linked to T. Takeda, the former head of the Japanese Olympic Committee, revealing payments to Singapore-based company associated with a notorious bribery network. Takeda, who also headed the Tokyo 2020 bid, authorized these payments to Black Tidings, a company linked to Papa Masata Diag, the son of Lamin Diag. Yes, the same Lamin Diag from Rio! H. Takahashi, a key figure and former Dentsu executive, found himself entangled in a separate bribery investigation. Takahashi allegedly received significant sums from companies seeking favorable contracts and sponsorships for the Tokyo Games. He insists that showering IOC members with gifts was just business as usual. He spoke the quiet part out loud. In a plot twist worthy of a soap opera, the IOC, ever the victim, is considering seeking compensation for damages. Yes, you heard that right. The IOC might try to get money back from a scandal they were allegedly blind to. Looking ahead to Paris 2024, French financial police conducted searches at multiple locations, including the Paris 2024 headquarters and Solideo, the public body overseeing Olympic constructions. Investigations are centered around allegations of embezzlement and favoritism in awarding public contracts. This scandal continues the IOC's unbroken streak of 12 years of corruption issues, proving once again that they are just getting more brazen each year. So, here we are at the Olympics' favorite pastime, corruption. From the Nazi propaganda games of 1936 to Paris's 2024 own bribery debacles, it is clear that corruption is as much part of the Olympic tradition as the torch relay. So next time you watch the Olympics, remember, corporations and officials stand above moral and sometimes even common sense. They keep getting wined and dined, showered with gifts, while we, the everyday people, are the ones getting Thank you for getting this far. If you haven't already subscribed, click here. It really helps. Watch my other video in the playlist or the one that is recommended to you by the all-knowing algorithm. I hope I made you laugh. See you next week.